She's just given me a ton of space to experience challenges, fail, learn, and given me room to self-discover the things that I'm good at.
To be able to create a career path to keep you was me proving that I could attract, build, and keep leaders that were worth leading.
I'm a real believer in never taking away the tension of business. As soon as you do, you weaken the person.
Business as the center of the wheel for a healthy community is very much an ideology that's inside of you, Dad.
We were finally listening to each other, and I started to listen and accept that we were not alike.
I think we leaned on each other so hard that it made us strong.
I want to say thank you to the people who saw me on this journey. In times when I knew I needed you, in times when I didn't know what questions to ask, each of these individuals filled a void for me.
You have to keep paying attention to the core of what got you to where you are. You can do other things, but you can't turn away from the core.
It's going to take a reservedness and a discipline to say, we're going to do the hard things over and over and over and over again.
You have to have playbooks for the things that you repeat.
Having the ability to reflect at this moment in the journey and see that while we built a business, it wasn't about building a business. It was about learning these rich truths in life. There's just like this rich texture to being here that I never expected. And when you're in the thick of the hard and the hurt and the scary and the fear, at least I didn't have the capacity to really absorb how deeply people cared about me.
There is a mutual love. It goes both ways, and it is palpable.
I mean, you know how much I love you.
I think Tiffany was ready for a long time.
I hope that I've redeemed every minute that these people gave to me. I hope that each of the people who took time to speak into me know with 100% certainty that they changed my life. And that when they look back and reflect on their lives, that they'll be able to count my life for certain as one that was impacted. And thank you seems trite, but with my whole body, thank you. This has been the first 17 years, a look back at the characters who have built my character. If you haven't listened to all of them, I invite you to look back over the last 10 episodes, where I take a really deep conversation with the people who have been part of this journey as I've built Element 3. Thank you for being my partners and pausing in this journey of life to stop and thank the people who have helped me. I want to give a special thank you to Samantha Johnson, my producer, for helping me get organized and structured with this. I'd like to give a thank you to my friends at Share Your Genius, Jillian Hofer, and Rachel Downey for just being special partners as we put together this mini-series. Thanks, guys. As we bring the first 17 years to a close, we will be moving back to our regular cadence of weekly episodes of Scared Confident. I feel compelled to continue leaning into this project. My goals for the first 12 to 18 months were, can I help one person and do I enjoy it? And I got around to this period of time where it's like, I do enjoy it. And I am finding that I'm helping people. And I think part of the process for me in redeeming the last 20 years and some of the money I left on the table, I exchanged for these rich lessons that life has taught me. And I think the way I have to cash in those coupons, redeem what life has taught me, is by putting myself in this forcing function of sharing it. It's how do I make it worth something? How do I make it so that it helps people? And how do I make it so that other people's journeys can run a little faster or with a little bit more clarity or with a little bit more certainty because it helped them? And, I've seen that I can grow leaders. I've seen that I can help early stage talent. I've seen that my experiences can help people make decisions more quickly than they would have otherwise. I've seen that in my like small sphere of influence in like the one-to-one aspect. And I have been put in a place where in my professional life, I've really practiced this skill of just synthesizing all of this complexity and all of these feelings and all of these strategies, all of this stuff. My brain makes things simple. And so, I think the stage in my fear journey that I'm in is how do I honestly claim who I am and the things that are inside of me and the talents that I have to give the world. So that's why we're doing this again. I've found that my heart is drawn towards people that have this achiever mindset where there's seasons where it's almost maniacal, where it just like won't quiet itself. I think because that's it's how I'm wired. And that achiever can be such a gift in your life, but it also can turn into a demon if you don't know how to control it. And there's this high expectation that like life is going to be excellent and that you're going to put a lot into it and you're going to get a lot out of it. But high achievers don't always know like when they've crossed the boundary where they're sacrificing things that they say they love, but they don't realize they are. Relationships, intimacy, community, friendships, family relationships. And so my goal with Scare Confident is that we're talking about the mindsets, the life strategies, the tips, the ways that you keep yourself as a high achiever kind of within the boundaries of what's healthy achievement look like, so that we aren't sacrificing the ability to be able to be really present, to love and serve those people, those communities, those missions, those causes that we love. Because I experienced that my achiever mindset took over my ability to be present. I could not feel my day because my mind was so far into the future. And that created some real clumsy parts of my journey, and that did not serve me well. And so I want to share, explore, talk about, bring into consciousness that if you're a high achiever, that's an exceptional thing, but it also can have sharp edges. And so how do we make it so that our life is rich and has closeness, but also we're chasing these dreams that are inside of us? I'm at this special place in my career where there's people that will reach out to me and say, hey, I've got some questions. Would you mind taking a little bit of time? And I find two things. One is I'd love to say yes to all of them, but aren't always able to accommodate it just from a time perspective with other things going on and commitments I've made to my family. And the other thing I've began to observe is that there are patterns in those questions that I'm asked. So I thought, why not record those in this coffee over microphones format where the questions you are asking me are likely questions others have. So if we can record those conversations and share them, it allows what was a one-to-one conversation to be transferred into a one-to-many. And it's just a higher velocity way of helping people, but it's not from my frame of reference or what are my questions about my life and about this, but other people's questions of kind of how I got to here. So we'll continue this coffee over microphones thing. And it's, I think, wanting to be helpful and wanting to mentor is a real part of why I'm doing this. And so I don't want to lose that one-to-one aspect, but where it makes sense to record and share those, we'll continue to do that. And we've also been working on a special new project. We're launching a newsletter. I'm experimenting with this, to be honest. Over the last year, I've tried really hard to get myself to love social media, and I just don't. But I know that there are other things that I need to share that not only audio can support. And so I'm starting this newsletter and I'm seeing, well, do people like it? What other types of information do they want from me? How can I share things, downloads, tips, links to things, other podcasts I'm listening to, stuff my kids are loving, exercises we've done at home that have sort of created really rich conversations. I don't know, all different kinds of stuff. And so we're going to launch this newsletter as a way for me to be able to share more intimately, and like I said, like say other forms of medium, not just audio, to help people on their journeys. I'll be on social, some sharing when we launch new podcasts. My baby, I think, is hilarious. And so she's in stories almost every day on Instagram. But I don't really like it. It's not a natural medium for me. And I think as a marketer, I know a little too much too, just about some of the privacy issues with social media. And I just want to be cautious about that. So I'm creating an opportunity for there to be kind of this closed arm community of a newsletter environment. And, I'm really going to take my audience's lead. And what do you want more of? What do you want less of? We're going to experiment with some things. And I think we have some fun ideas of how to really create an experience that I would love to be a part of, that I would give my time to. And so we're challenging ourselves to make this really excellent, really worth your time. I'm sure something will suck because everything does at some point. But we're going to put a lot of energy into making it great. So come along with us. If it's something you want to try, and give us feedback, help us make this a place that's really special and safe, where we're vulnerable, where we share, where, we just help sort of normal pieces of life just go a little bit more smoothly. That's what I'm hoping it does. You can sign up for the newsletter. There's a link in the show notes. It's like an every other week kind of thing right now. We'll see if it gets more frequent than that, but we want it to be great when it comes. We're excited to see you on the feed next week when we drop new shows with Scare Confident. I'll see you then.